On May the 8th, 1945, people around the world celebrated victory in Europe, VE Day. After years of sacrifice, the Second World War was over in Europe. Our next guests remember that day well, and they join us now to tell us what it was like to be alive at that exhilarating moment. And with that, we welcome Bruce Woods, who was in Stratford, Ontario on VE Day; Rolf Pirro, who was in Lossberg, Germany on VE Day; Fred Davies, who may have been in 5 different locations on VE Day. More on that in a bit. And Gerda Freiberg, who was in the Oberaltstadt concentration camp in present-day Czech Republic on VE Day. And I am thrilled to welcome 4 members of what has been called the greatest generation to our table here at TVO. It's great to meet you all. Let's start, before we find out about VE Day and what you were all doing, just find out a little bit about you. Okay, Bruce, you first. You're a kid living in Stratford, Ontario?
Yep.
When the war broke out, what was life like?
Well, at first, it took us a few days to figure out what was really happening. But my teacher was a lady by the name of Miss Nash. She had just come back from Finland. And of course, at exactly the same time, Russia and Finland engaged in war. And so we were getting it in the classroom, and she was so upset to think that the Russians were attacking Finland.
Now, September 1st, 39, when the war starts, you're how old?
At this point, I'm in grade 3, and I am 7 years old.
Do you really have much sense of what's going on?
Not at the beginning. I was more concerned about Finland. I was ready to take out citizenship with Mrs. Nash, so loyal to the Finns. But it wasn't long, because I had a mother and a grandmother who wanted to know every day what was happening. And they were my caregivers, and so I was hearing it on the news and I was reading it in the paper.
Gotcha. Fred Davies, where were you when World War II broke out in September 39?
I was in grade 10 in high school in Halifax.
And when the war started, what did you think?
I didn't think that much, because instead of coming out into grade 11 and going to university, we were refused to do that because the university said we want no more children. 17 was too young. The universities were full of children. They couldn't handle them. They openly stated, we cannot teach children university data. So they asked for a stall. So they went for a stall there, and they said, well, let's make it 18. So we all had to make an extra year's something or other. So my dear mother and aunt said, we know what we'll do, business school. So I ended up in business school. I became the best business person in this whole wide world. Gold medal in shorthand, and 100% in typing and transcript, everything else. And so then just before the season entered, and then the school, on comes the Royal Canadian Engineers. The war was just going. And they said, we need 4 directors, call them what you want, for the government agents to go to Quebec. Because in Quebec, in the Gaspé area, they were putting in gun forts, 10-inch gun forts, to protect the St. Lawrence and an Air Force for our seaplanes. So we looked at each other and said, that sounds good. So believe it or not, 4 of us went there, and we got papers and everything else sent there, and cost factors and everything else. And on the old choo-choo trains, took us 24 hours on the train to get to Gaspé from Halifax.
And you enlisted?
No. We went there as government agents to handle the business affairs of the government in their construction of great big 10-inch gun forts and a seaplane base.
As the war went on, what did you do?
We were only there for 7 months.
Okay, but
So
as the war went on, what did you do?
Well, as the war went on, we were there for a bit, then we left that, and they were mad at us, but we didn't mad at us. We were kids. So we went back, had our medicals. 2 of us joined the Air Force, and he unfortunately died. He was a mid-upper gunner. I survived. Well, I was shot down, but I survived, and went on to have a pretty hectic wartime experience of getting 46 operations, and crash landing a bit and shot down in Holland, and walked from Holland to France without getting captured, my flight engineer and I. And so from there on, there's a whole bunch of things you wouldn't believe.
Well, we're going to get into some of this story. So you were flying planes,
Yeah, we were.
and you got shot down, and you ended up a prisoner of war.
Yeah, basically in the end, yes. After various other things.
How long were you a POW for?
Well, we didn't have too long to be one because I didn't get there till July '44, which was after the big escape there at the dome at the prison camp, where the 50 officers were shot. And but we more or less just got there in November. Came by, it started to get cold, and January came, and the Russians came right behind it, right to the gates of the compounds pretty well.
Which compound? Where was it?
Sagan.
And where was that?
And at Breslau, between Breslau and Berlin by the Polish border.
Okay.
And so it went on fine there. Then they came, so we had to go. So I was in a POW camp, now hospital, just outside the wire. And at 12:30 at night, the call came, Rouse, which means up and at it. And as you know, it very well. So we all got there, and there was thousands of them. We had 10,000 people in the area, prisoners of all different nations, mostly Air Force types of different nations. And they all started slogging out, pulling boxes and bags and rough sleds and backs on their back. And as the books that we read on them, they didn't go more than a day and a half, and most of that stuff was gone. They just couldn't carry on. So I was in hospital, and I got, next morning they came around and they roasted us out and stuck us on a little train a couple miles away, and then took us down towards Nuremberg. And from there I stayed there for a while, then went on the forced marches through the Austrian-Bavarian mountains.
How old are you at this point?
21. And
Okay.
so we went down there, and then things went on. Many things happened in between, but I went 4 times with the Gestapo and stuff like that. But these are big story.
Rolf Pirro, you're in Lussburg, Germany.
Yes, I was. I was born in 1935, and I was 4 years old when the war started, 10 years when it was over. But I have seen quite a bit of action of the war. I would say possibly more than most of the soldiers have.
Do you have any firsthand memory of the beginning of the war? I can't imagine, you were so young.
Not really, no, because the natural thing to do was to go to the kindergarten, which I did, and then attend school. And then in school we got little engagement by the local authorities, which was to pick up the scrap pieces from the artillery, from the Air Force. And that was sort of a recycling process. But in 1944, my mother and my 2 brothers, we went to the Black Forest on a moment's notice because of the heavy air raids. And mother had two suitcases full of clothing and one with potatoes and food.
And where was your father?
My father was on the Eastern Front in Russia, and he came home once a year. I remember that.
You were in Stuttgart.
I was, yes.
When the Allies firebombed Stuttgart.
They did.
Do you remember that?
I do.
What was that like?
Well, I can only say it was devastating simply because Stuttgart, what they had bombed was only civilian, by civilians. The only factory that I know was Mercedes-Benz, but everything else was pretty well civilian.
So you have do you still have clear memories of being there at that time?
Oh, I think I do. I remember the night before the big. There were three days, 3 big raids by the English, June the 26th to June the 29th, 1944. And the night before, we went from the suburb to downtown Stuttgart, and there is a big tunnel, and that helped to save our lives. And it was awful that because the next morning, mother and my two brothers, we went downtown and we met a woman there with a bucket of water, and my mother asked him, "What is it that you're doing?" And she said, "I'm burying my child that was that died in the air raid the night before."
Gerda Freiberg,
Yeah.
when the war started, September of '39, where were you?
I come from Upper Silesia.
What is that today?
It was 150 years Germany. In 1922, the League of Nations gave it to Poland. The border was moved, and so we were in Poland, but all my relatives were on the other side. And we lived as Germans in Poland. The whole population was German. And 1939, 1st of September, we already knew the war was coming. We could hear shooting. But the Nazis marched into our town within an hour. There wasn't one shot fired because the population was German. They weren't fighting anybody. On October 19th, they took all the men, Jewish men from 16 to 65, my father among them. They came and picked up my father. And as they were taking him away, he turned around to me and says, "Take care of mother. When this is all over, we'll meet here. No matter how, we'll come here and meet here." And he was gone. But we still were in our home. We didn't have a business anymore. People helped themselves to the merchandise. The bank accounts for Jews were closed. We couldn't remove any money.
We should establish, I guess, that yours is a good example of how, once the war started, Germans who were Jewish, who always thought of themselves as loyal Germans, were seen as the enemy, obviously. And your father was a decorated war hero, was he not?
My grandfather was buried with military honors. He was in an elite something in the army. My father fought in World War I and decorated soldier. And they beat him up every time they took him right after, before they deported them. They picked him up every day. They beat him up. He was wearing this little Silesian eagle was his medal. They tore it off him and says Jews don't deserve it. And, you know, they mistreated him. We were praying that he should come and that we should see him again, but then they took him away. So just my mother, my sister, and myself were still home. But on March 3rd, there was an edict that they make Upper Silesia Judenrein, free of Jews. And we were to meet in a certain place. They put us on trucks, and they deported all the Jews from Upper Silesia. They made Upper Silesia Judenrein.
And you
We
ended
ended
up
up in the middle of the night. They unloaded us in a town. We didn't know where we were. Found out the next day it was the ghetto in Jaworzno. It was very close to Krakow. Overnight, we became homeless and penniless. My mother and my sister and I, sitting on the town square with 30 families among them, and didn't know where we are and what we're going to do tomorrow.
How old were you at that time?
By then, I was 14.
And about to enter the first of a few prison camps, concentration camps.
Well, we were 2 years in the ghetto. In 1942, in February, they took my sister, and I was still home. My father made a terrible decision. He ran away when they took them, and he jumped off the train and ended up in Russian-occupied Poland. But he was so lonely, and he missed the family so much that he dressed as a farmer and came back. He paid with his life, because if he would have stayed there, he would have been liberated after the war.
He didn't survive the war.
He came back, and so he was secretly there. My grandmother didn't even know that her son is there. We didn't tell her because we were afraid that she'd be so excited to see her son and tell somebody. Well, in April, last night of Passover, 11th of April, they knock on the door, banging into the door, and they came to pick me up. And my parents stand there. They already, my sister is gone. Now they're taking the only child that was left. And they took me to a holding camp.
So who in your family did and who did not survive the war?
Well, My mother and my sisters and myself survived. My father was then taken to a camp in, strangely enough, he was in the neighborhood of our camp because we were satellite of Gross Rosen. And he was still alive in February 1945. But we were liberated 9th of May, and he was gone by then.
So you never saw him again after he left the first time?
I saw him when they took me to the neighboring town. We were in a holding camp, and somebody slipped me a little note that he'll be across the street on the roof. He still wants to see me the last time before they take us away somewhere else. And I remember him standing on the roof of a building and waving his arms. But I don't know if he saw me because we were behind bars, was a jail, and he didn't know which window I would be. But I could see him, and that's the last time I saw him.
So you all four experienced World War II in very different ways. Bruce, let me go back to you now. 8th of May, VE Day. How do you find out that Germany has been defeated and the war in Europe is over?
Well, of course, we were waiting for that day. We didn't know how soon it would come, but we knew that it was imminent. And when that day finally came, we found out because we were dismissed early from public school. By this time, I'm in grade 8. And later on in the afternoon, because in 1945, Stratford was a factory town. And so all the factories started blowing their whistles. Well, then the C&R shops, they top it off because their whistle was louder than anybody else's. And then I gobbled down my supper. I knew what was coming. And my best buddy, whose older brother had been in a Halifax bomber, shot down, and had gotten back to Stratford just a little bit before all of this. Anyway, my best buddy and myself, we headed downtown. Well, you could hear the shouting from downtown, and I live 3 blocks away. And not only that, but there were pickup trucks running around. See, gas rationing. Nobody had extra gas to burn. But if you had a pickup truck, you were in business. So you had all the gas you needed. So they're the ones that are running around, and they're inviting all of the kids or anybody to get into the pickup truck. Well, they were hanging on to the running boards. The box was full, so we got a free ride downtown 3 blocks. Well, we didn't get very far because even coming on the streets, approaching City Hall, it was jam-packed with people. There were thousands of people who were downtown Stratford.
What were they doing?
Shouting their head off. Some of them were singing. There was 2 bands playing. They put the bands, somebody had been thinking ahead. They put the bands at 2 ends so that they wouldn't conflict. But they were playing the band, but really, there was so much shouting, you could hardly hear the band for all of the screaming that we were doing. And we had lung power that lasted for 3 hours.
Now, how did everybody get the news?
Well, it was, of course, coming through the airwaves by radio. I suppose the Stratford Beacon Herald was delivered early that day, but it just seemed like as if everybody knew. And I would say by 2 o'clock you could hear people shouting, and it wasn't quiet like it always was at that hour, and the crescendo just kept picking up. And I don't think we were unique. I think you'd have been over to Woodstock, or if you'd been to London or downtown Toronto, it was exactly the same way.
No television yet, of course, right?
No.
So no one's getting the news off TV.
There's no way to find out like that.
Okay. Fred Davies, we mentioned in the intro that you're not exactly sure where you were on VE Day. You might have been in 5 different countries on VE Day. How come you're not sure?
Well, it's a combination. The first VE Day was actually a foreign day. It was not true at all. That was when President Roosevelt died at Easter.
That was April 12th.
April 12th, somewhere out there.
45, yeah.
We had just spent the night in a big shed at this railway depot. It was empty because they wouldn't trust materials there with being bombed all the time. So they put about 400 or 500 in the shed And then the sirens went and the guards disappeared, and so we just went, yeah, hope. So they bombed the railway yard to pieces, missed the shed, and next morning the guards came around and opened the doors up. Come on out, everybody, come on out, everybody. Uh-oh, what's going on? So they said, we won the war, I guess. I said, you did? How'd you do that? And they said, well, President Roosevelt died last night, so therefore your leader's gone, so the war is over, we won.
Oh, so they're telling you they assumed that
yeah,
they had won
definitely,
and that the
and they were
Allies had lost.
smiles and happy and chucky. So we broke the sad news that, well, sorry, chum, but on our side, if someone dies, he's replaced the next day. That's the way it works. President, king, or who we want. Oh, you mean we haven't won the war? No. Sad face. So it was rather amusing, you know, we thought. And another thing, too, is we had this is a bit of an excerpt. We had on part of the march, we had another fellow that we hoped would be more in there, right happy on it. But he was one of your soldiers German soldiers from the First War. And this may be an excerpt afterwards, but it's interesting, I thought. We're going along there, hundreds in town, this old dirt road, and this poor fellow's going along. I guess he was between 55 or 60. And he was just staggering. He had a good beer deal there, and a big heavy coat on, a big pack, a rifle, a big helmet, a monstrous thing, and a bicycle. So we walk along there, you know, and we're keeping an eye on him, and we sort of whisper together, that looks like your dad. We can't let him do that. So we had a couple of chaps that knew a bit of German. So we talked to him and convinced him that he ought to give him a hand. Well, he went for it. So one fellow had his rifle, another fellow had his bike, another guy had his coat, another guy had his pack, and he was staggering along, sweat coming off, really enjoying it, you know. And then, the word came back, Stapo member coming up the side. To give it all back to him, and he's staggering along again. But it stayed with me forever. But he was just like your grandfather or somebody, you know. It meant so much to you. But getting back to the VE Day, it started with being in a little village down there about 50K from Munich. And we'd sent a chap through with a German guard.
And you're a prisoner of war at this point.
Yeah, and he went to Munich, got in touch with Switzerland. French people, gave him a couple of truckloads of junk food, cigarettes. And so they all came back, we spread them all around, and we had one big meal. We made a great big meal because we knew that we weren't going to stay there long. They'd move us out. So we made a great big stew, and we had a group of little 13, 14 German children come through with a 17-year-old boss with them, the lieutenant. And their job was to go around trying to refix what the Allies had done. So they joined in there, and we had a great time. And then it went on. The next morning, we figured, well, they'd be saying, okay, gadget your gear, we're going. But then Patton's Armored Corps came through. And Patton's Armored Corps was about 10 miles almost of armor, tanks, guns, carriers, whatnot.
Did you see him?
Not him, the cat. I hate him. And oh, pardon me, but I mean it. But
you hate General Patton?
Yeah.
How come?
Got a good reason. And
we want to hear that reason.
You will in a minute.
Okay.
But he came roaming in there, and the lead tank stops, and the American officer and I'm the Canadian officer. We go over and we're talking to him, and we hear this little put, 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 put. And we look across the field, and it's a little copse of trees over there, maybe big as his room. And there's a little puff of smoke is coming out. And we said, there's some nut over there with a machine gun shooting at all the tanks. And a colonel in the tank, like, he said, yeah, you're right. So he spoke, and all the Shermans putting the guns in line up with that little bit of forest. And just one word, fire, everything disappeared. Absolutely everything disappeared in that location. So we said, how can someone be that stupid? But so then from there we went to the headquarters of the armored group. Were there and spoke with them. They got trucks. We were into Regensburg that night. You know Regensburg? Mm-hmm. And the main place we stayed there was the the armament factory where they designed and built German fighters and everything else. Terrific big airport. And so we're down there and we meet this colonel in charge of the ground. And he says, I was with a young Spitfire pilot. We teamed up, escaped a couple of times on the way and whatnot. And so we had all airplanes. And he said, you know, I've been flying Spits. I could fly one of those stupid things. And so we told the colonel, and he says, oh, yeah, we need all these planes got to go back to England. He says, be here at 9 o'clock in the morning, and take one and go. So we come back in the morning, and this is where Colonel Patton comes into it. He pops up in there an hour before we got there and grabs it because it was an MA-109F with a second seat behind for a trainer instructor. And he grabs the stupid airplane for his private plane to run around and look at the boys. So we lost that one out. So we had to go back to the Walkendale. So we get from there, from there into flying to Paris. We get there on May the 2nd.
So wait a second, I get it. So you don't like General Patton because he stole a plane and...
No, that's a different story.
That's a different story.
Oh, yeah. And, that's one reason there, but the part there is that we get into Paris, and I'd always told the fellows in the prison camp, I said, on May the 6th, we'll be in England. It's my birthday. So we were in Paris for a couple of days. On May the 6th morning, we jumped on a little old Dakota airplane, which was then a new British airline. And we flew into Croydon in England. I landed on the 6th of May, my birthday. And meantime, all this time, the Allies have been talking back and forth about what stupid day is going to be VE Day. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They couldn't make up their mind because there was a bit of fighting going on in Northern Holland and whatnot, and a bit in Germany. The bottom end, it had been cleaned out. There were soldiers and stuff down there, but it's not much going on. So it was all based on there. So in Paris, is it going to be a day? No. England, going to be a day? No. But they think it might be tomorrow. So tomorrow we went down to Bournemouth, and it said, and then the word came out, it would be the next day on the 8th. So we had a big party in Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, England,
Yeah.
May 8th, 45.
Yeah,
You're how
yeah.
old at this point?
Right now, 92.
No, I mean...
Then, 22.
22 years old and 2 days.
And 2 days. But in regards to that other little cut, which we may not do later on, the reason why Mr. Eisenhower is in our bad books is that when we were escaping after being shot down, we walked from Holland down through Belgium to France. And we holed up in a little town called Erkens. And there, they were making up our false passports and everything else. We had them all ready. Next step was Paris on the way to Spain to get out of this place. But this little fellow with 5 bands on his shoulder comes along and says, we will have our D-Day on that day. So we didn't go anywhere except stay there, end up in jail.
Can I ask you, what are these?
Oh, this here? Oh, that's the regular base. This is a Distinguished Flying Cross. I wore this to just a couple of ribbons because I'm military, and I didn't want to wear a uniform because Mark told me that we were just casual. So just to show that I'm a bad guy, military man, I put a couple of ribbons on.
Okay. Mark is our producer, Mark Rosens, who you talked to. Okay. Rolf Piro, I'm going to assume that VE Day for a German in Germany was different than the experience these two men had. What was it like?
I would say it was, as mentioned before, I spent my time in the Black Forest, and there was still a lot of heavy fighting in the air and on land. They had still V-1 and V-2 rockets going from the Nevis Mountains, and I remember going to school. I was walking on the country road. I had seen the first jets coming, attacking these bomber formation that came from France into Germany. And I recall they were making huge bends around the formation. And they shot down 3 big bombers with the new heat-seeking missiles, and that all went so fast it came down like confetti. But later on, I found out these jet planes were stationed in Munich, and in the forest, just close to the Autobahn, so they rolled them out and took it as a start. So the war ended for me in the Black Forest around May the 2nd.
How did you find out?
Well, I still got a good memory when I went to school. And
I mean, did somebody tell you Hitler's dead, we've surrendered, war is over? Did you get something like that?
No. I got that only later on May the 9th because what I did is I constructed a little buggy so that we can walk home and bring our suitcases along. And we walked 80 kilometers from Losburg to the city of Stuttgart.
Who's we?
My mother and my two brothers. And so that was a very, very long walk. And after we got there, the French were already there. The B2 was over, had taken place. That was on May the 9th. And I recall they already had flatbeds with machinery loaded up, taken out, moved away, and there were people on the side of the street, on the sidewalk. And I remember one woman was crying, and she said, "Look, they're not only not only lost the war, but we're also losing now our jobs." And there was a man behind, and he said, I never forget, he said, "Let him take it away, good, good, good." And I asked him, "Why would you say that?" And his answer was, "You turn always a negative into positive, and we're going to construct the best machineries, and we're going to outproduce them." And basically,
that happened.
And there was already a vision there, and there were a lot of people, sad from the war. Everybody had to survive, and I remember the biggest sadness was having driven 14 million Germans out of East Germany, and that is the biggest ethnic cleansing there ever was in mankind.
Now, your experience obviously would be extremely different from these two gentlemen on the other side of the table. If I can put it this way, they were on the winning side, you were on the losing side. Did your experience, therefore, over the ensuing time feel different?
Well, my feeling was just being a little bit more honest to each other, I mean, at that time, what went through my head was looking back 400 years of fighting in Europe. 400 years. I know a lot of it because of the family history, 1618. Look at 2018 now, 400 years. A constant cycle of hate. And this is what went through my head. Okay, what is it that you do? And then when the first buses came from France with youth, young teenagers, okay, I was really, really surprised, and I said, "Look, this is the new Europe that we are aiming for." In the newspapers, they had reported and said, "Look, Adenauer and another French statement, they gotten together to bring the coal and the iron industry together to make war impossible." So this was a big event to me, and it was also in the paper.
Rolf, is there any sense at the time that you can remember, because you're a young child after all, is there any recognition that the world is at war and it's Hitler's fault, it's our fault, and we're never going to be able to live this down? Any of that kind of thinking?
Well, my reply is this: there was too much hardship felt by the people. And when you have hardship, loss of job, hurting each other, okay? You bring on these sort of events. And that's what it was to me. And you know, even when the war was over, it did not stop. Eisenhower put 1.8 million German soldiers into a campground, let them starve in the open, in the rain, in the cold. Okay, and so many died, and that was a modern Holocaust to me at that time. That was in the Rhineland, called the Rhine-Wiesenlager.
Gerda, where were you on VE Day?
Well, we were, when I came to the concentration camp, we were only 90 girls. By 1945, after they invaded Hungary, there were so many more women came. We ended up with 1,000 girls in our camp. We worked in a spinning mill, but by 1945 in March, and so we didn't have any supplies anymore because nothing was coming in. And once we were not useful to them, our lives were in danger because they only fed us as long as we were working. Whatever they were feeding us, that you could sustain your life. So now we are in April of 1945. The factory is closed and we fear for our lives. So now they came and they, you know, and every morning they lined us up and counted us. Every evening they counted up like we could escape. How could you escape? Everybody, you didn't know who your friend and who was your enemy, right? And the way we looked was easy to recognize. So they gave us shovels and they walked us outside the town and they said, you dig the trenches. When the tanks will arrive closer to town, then the tanks will fall into the trenches, whatever. And if we don't finish it on time and the town is taken, that it's our fault and they will shoot us all. So we're going every day for so many kilometers to outside of the town and digging the trenches. And then one day we didn't know what's going on outside. There was no communication, there was nothing, had no idea. But we're still so happy birthday Adolf Hitler, because it was April, right? His birthday is, I believe, on the 20th. We had no idea he was dead by then. And one evening we come back from work and we stand in line. The Unterscharführer, which is the SS officer, is counting, walking up and down, stops. How old are you? 17. Well, you're not going to get any older. That camp is rigged with dynamite, and before we leave, we blow the camp up. 3 years hoping and praying for the day of liberation. Now we are so close, and now we're going to be blown up. He dismissed us. We went in our barracks. Nobody spoke. Everybody was silent, and we were waiting. Do we have 10 minutes, an hour, a night? Morning came. We're still standing there. But it was very quiet in the guard barracks. We didn't hear the dogs and we didn't see any movement. We were afraid to go out. Suddenly, I stood at the window and I heard footsteps and I could tell it's marching soldiers. I said, now, that's it, girls. That's the end. As they came closer, I realized they were prisoners of war. We knew there was a camp of prisoners of war. They were South African volunteers in the British Army, and they were in the neighboring. The reason we knew, because they were working also in the factory. So as a prisoner of war, you don't have to work, but you get bored, so you volunteer. So they also did some work in that factory, and that's how we knew. And they come close to our camp, cut to the barbed wire, open the gate, and says, girls, you are free. Of course, we only understand free because German is frei. So we are free. The gate is open. We stand outside the gate. Freedom is all we had. Children that grew old in camp. I was 16, I came out, I was 19. In Europe at 16, you weren't an adult. There were different times. We stood outside the gate, no parents, no home, no education, no money, and no country that wants us. There was no ticketed parade. The soldiers came home. They were celebrating their homecoming. There was nobody waiting for us. It was the 9th of May. The war was over and we didn't even know that. The Russian army, the tanks roll in. We ran because we can hear the rumbling on the street of the tanks. We ran and tear out every flower in the factory garden and throw it at the Russian soldiers. An armored car stops and somebody gets out of there with all these whatever medals and says, Yevrei, in Russian, are you Jewish? And he starts speaking Yiddish. He says, where is your camp? Take me there. He stands in the middle of that, where we always were counted, and he says, girls, don't tell the soldiers where the camp is. I cannot guarantee you safety. My men are raping every woman inside. That was my liberation. We went back to the barracks. We put 3 bunks, like 3-floor barracks, against the wall in the evening, against the door in the evening. All of a sudden, the bunk bed is flying across the room. The soldiers found the camp. With 40 girls in a room are screaming, and the guys runs away. We came up with an idea. We broke into the office of the factory, and we had pen and paper, and we wrote typhoid on the paper. And we pinned it on every door in the barrack, and we got rid of the Soviet soldiers. It took a number of days. We were sitting, now we had no food at all. The Germans were gone, and nobody looked after. Now imagine 1,000 women are now liberated, so to say. Our bodies were liberated. We are still there. We will be free when we are buried. We're always there. Nobody from the town comes. A priest, we all pray to the same God, different names. Come and talk to the children. Not a doctor from the whole town. Can I help? The girls were dying after liberation. Nobody cared. And we were afraid to leave the camp because we were afraid of the Russian soldiers. When it all settled down, finally we were left in groups. But we had no money to pay for a ticket on a bus or on a train or anything. So we walked. If a farmer was taking some stuff to the market, we jumped on the wagon and he took us. The bridges were blown up. So if a boat was going, a paddle boat or something, we were jumping and asked them to take us across the river. We were going from one Red Cross station to another and stood in line for food. Now we're standing in line with the Nazis that shed their uniforms.
Tried to blend in.
And say, look, we didn't finish the job. This is the people we stood in line with for the bit of food in Red Cross stations. Well, finally, we made it home. And as a matter of fact, I had a pair of shoes that I came to camp. And I wanted to keep them when I be liberated, that I'll have shoes. So we were managing to take some flags and tie it around our feet, and I kept those shoes when I will be liberated. We needed to hope for something. See, we never lost faith, and we never lost hope, and that kept us going. We remembered when the Jewish holidays came, some Orthodox girls made a calendar, and we go by the moon so many days, Passover, and we would make at night. We would get down from the bunk beds when the guards when it was quiet there, and we would recite the Haggadah. Whoever remembered, I did it in German because I couldn't read the Hebrew, so I don't remember it in Hebrew, so I did it in Germany. And we finished and we said, next year in Jerusalem.
As every Seder comes to an end that way.
That wasn't even a dream, but that's what kept us going. Yom Kippur, we wouldn't line up for food. We want to show the Nazis that you took everything away from us. You will never take our fate. So next day they gave us no food. The girls were fainting at the work. 3 years in a row we did the same. We showed them that you took everything away from us, but not our fate. And that was kept us going.
Rolf, I'd like to, sorry, did you want to respond to something there?
I wanted to make one comment.
Sure.
I wanted to make one comment that I forgot about the VE Day.
Sure.
When I came from the Black Forest to the city of Stuttgart, the Americans had already taken over from the French, and the French had left as an occupation force. And there in Stuttgart, I met a reporter from the Stars and Stripes, which is the American
Military newspaper.
military newspaper. And as a young fellow, I wanted to know is where do we stand with the end of the war? Okay, is the VE Day near? And this is what his answer was. He said, look, from headquarters, we got the instructions in February to portray the Germans no longer as a beast, but rather as a normal person. And I said, does that mean the war is now over? And he said, pretty well. What that meant is that when the official headquarters is saying, look, the war is over, according to the convention, there's no more bombing of the cities needed. What I'm saying is there was no justification to bomb the city of Dresden, because Dresden was bombed in February the 13th, you know. So I'm just saying one injustice is driving another injustice all the time. And this is how I had seen it.
I have something I'd like to contribute at this point, if I may. I had hoped when I first proposed this that Erika Hepke would be here. She was raised in Kolb. And I would like to, because 3 months ago she died. But it took us by surprise because she looked to be in fairly decent health. I'd like to tell her story for her, if I may.
Sure.
She was in Kolb, suburb of Marburg. American army is coming in, German army is retreating. They're caught in the crossfire. Her dad was a Lutheran minister. Back in 1935, he was a part of the Confessing Church. Now, the Confessing Church was 70 Lutheran pastors who were opposed to Hitler and who were attempting to make their point known. And names come to mind like Martin Niemöller, who spent really all of the war in jail. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was killed by Hitler days before the American army could have liberated him. That was the company that her father, Bernard Hepke, kept. And Bernard was drafted into the German army in 1940. And he's a Lutheran minister, and he's opposed to Hitler. What do you do in a situation like that? Well, he accepted the position of being an officer, I think equivalent to being a lieutenant. Well, he takes care of his men. He's on the British, he's on the Italian front, and when in 1945 they surrendered, he surrendered to the British. Tragically, the British, because he was posted in Trieste, turned him over to the Yugoslav army. Well, the Yugoslavs had a debt to pay, and basically speaking, that was his death sentence. For the counterpart of the ordinary laymen, or at least ordinary men who were in the army, they made it back to Germany. But that's the background. And here is Erika. And by the way, I didn't know her as a German lady. I knew her as an English lady because she spoke English so perfectly. And we worked together on committees in Hamilton, doing all kinds of church work. And when I had finally written my book, which described the events of that time, she said, I will tell you my story. And so she said, going back now to VE Day, May the 7th, they're in this situation where they're in the crossfire. Like other refugees, they flee. Instead of getting better, it got worse. They found a farmer's home. Well, actually, it was a basement, really. And mother said to her brood of children, we'll go there for safety. In they go, only to find that there's 100 other faithful German Lutherans who are in there as well, who are fearing for their life. And Erica, or Heather's mother, who doesn't know that right now her husband is being tortured by the Yugoslav army. She breaks out into the singing of an old Lutheran hymn. And be still my soul, the Lord is on thy side. They all knew the hymn by heart, and they sang it in that farmhouse basement by heart. And spent the night there. The next day is May the 8th. Beautiful day. And out they come, mom with her children, and there's a church bell ringing. And then it is answered by another church bell at the other end of the valley. Mother said, the war must be over, or the church bells would not be ringing. And that story told me the German ordinary people, they didn't want that war any more than we did. But they were caught in a situation that was intolerable for them. And anyway.
It seems to be what Rolf's position is as well.
Yeah. I think of her, and I'm just sorry that she's not here to say that herself.
It's the famous last words used today by a lot of people and a lot of groups, as was used in Hitler's day when he first started. He started as a rumpus from the First War. He was nobody loved him, he was lost. So we got a few cronies, the way you have bullies today.
Yep.
And they started causing ructions. So what did the adults and the people in charge of the town say? Leave them alone. They're only children, they will get over it.
Yep.
We have a world war.
Yep. That's what happened.
And the same thing today with the bullies in the street.
Yeah.
Leave them alone, their fathers will take care of them. They'll do this or that. The father steps in, the judge puts him in jail.
Fred Davies, how long after VE Day did life get back to normal for you?
For me? I guess, well, we stayed in for longer as a Tiger Force at Greenwood Base in Nova Scotia, with the 405 and 408 squadrons, which basically happened to my two squadrons too. And so we were training them for the Tiger Force, and we were going to fly the squadrons to Japan area and act as bombing, to join the Americans in the bombing campaign. But then we just got trained up. I guess we needed training after having a couple of weeks break. But it more was just thought about getting ready for it, and then he dropped the little eggs on Japan, and that stopped it.
The 2 atomic bombs.
Yeah.
And that was the end of the war, so you never...
That was the end of the war, basically, and the real end of the war, because there was a lot of people talking about this and that. We should do this, we should do that, we should pay them back, and that's a bunch of junk. People talk that way because they're mad personally. Doesn't mean a thing.
That's interesting. I have to respond to that. That I couldn't get over the fact that on August the 15th, because I was a part of the celebrations in Stratford at that time, I couldn't get over the fact that it was so ordinary. Because on VE Day, May the 8th, it was all incredibly amazing to see it all unfold and spontaneous. The celebration that we had on August the 15th was planned. It was a nice event. We all enjoyed it. But in comparison to what spontaneously took place with the ordinary people of Canada on that May 8th day, that was a day, believe me, to remember.
Why do you think the post-victory in Japan celebration wasn't as big?
It's almost as if we had built up a crescendo, and it was released on May the 8th, and nothing could top it. I remember Dunkirk. We were scared. And then on June the 22nd, when France surrendered, I can still remember we were sitting at the radio and the announcer said, "France is fallen." I started to cry. I said to my mother, the Nazis will be over here and they're going to kill us all. And my mother's response was very reassuring. She said, "Oh no." She said, "The Americans would step in and stop them, so you have nothing to worry about, Bruce." When Paris was liberated, which came in August of 1944, we were happy about that. But we knew there was still a war that had to be fought before the final day came. And it was almost as if somehow or other we kept repressing a suppressed joy at the end of World War II. And then at long last, on May the 8th, someone pulls the plug and it all came out. And so how can you top this? You can't. And so August the 15th was just okay, but...
I want to tell you something. There was something very important forgotten from my own experience. 5 years after VE Day, in Europe, when arrangements had been made, the first arrangements for a united Europe, we had two different I wouldn't call it two different poles. We had the inner circle and we had the outer circle of Europe. The inner circle was the Benelux states, and the outer circle was Denmark, Britain, and a bunch of other countries. I myself asked the question, why are we now going through this again, two different Europes, when we should be having one Europe? And you know, in today's newspapers, we never hear about the inner circle and the outer circles. They were important because they had to really come together and provide a peaceful world.
Gerda, can I ask you, how long after VE Day did you get back some semblance of what you might call a normal life?
Would you believe 1953 when I landed in Montreal?
That many years later?
Because when we came home and my father did not return, my mother was just a local doctor who knew us from way back and said, "Take her away because she's not going to survive it." I lost 172 people. We were my sister, my mother, and myself were the only survivors of the entire family. No one survived. So we're now back home. People were really, really nice to us because we were part of the community, and they were glad that we came back. As a matter of fact, many of those photos were hidden by the maid that worked for us. Otherwise, I wouldn't have these photos from way when my father was born. And so now we're going home, and the communists are there. We cannot get back our business. My mother isn't well. I have no trade, no profession. I grew up in a concentration camp. So we survivors became a family. So whenever you met a survivor, you ask, "What are you doing?" So then we started to move out of Germany, which was now occupied by Poland. And we finally ended up in Munich. And in Munich, the Allied set up an office, and the survivors were put into displaced persons camps. And so we ended up in Landsberg am Lech. This is where Hitler wrote Mein Kampf in 1922. And now we were in the displaced person camp. The Americans provided the food, and people from the States were sending clothing, and we lived in the Kaserne, where the army was before. And now what? Canadian came, I don't know what year it was, and were registering people to take to Canada. But they were looking for lumberjacks, boys that weighed like 80 pounds after concentration camp. I can't imagine being a lumberjack there.
I think they started in 1946. And when they started, what I remember seeing, they had trucks all over Germany, painted IRO, International Refugee Organization, bringing people.
UNRWA. UNRWA.
United Nations?
No, I think there was another one.
So we stuck in the DP camp. And if you had a relative that sent you a visa, then you could immigrate either Canada, US, Australia, wherever. But when my whole family was living in Germany, and they couldn't get out of Germany under the Nazi, they had no passport anymore. Jews didn't have a passport. They were stateless. So no country wanted them. They lined up at every embassy in Berlin and couldn't get out of Germany. So we had nobody outside of Europe. So my mother and my sister and I were sitting in camp, and we didn't know where to go. Now it's 1947.
And where was the camp?
My sister, Landsberg am Lech.
Okay.
And my sister got married in camp, and the young people started to go to Palestine illegally. And my sister joined them with her husband. Well, but they got on the boat in which Exodus, when the British rammed the ship and took the people off and took them back to Germany and put them behind barbed wire. Now they're sitting in Emden on the northern coast because they took them back to Liebeck. And so my sister is now waiting in another British camp till the state of Israel was declared and Ben Gurion said, come home. They were the first group taken legally into Israel. But my mother and I still sit in the DP camp. It's now for 1949. They're closing the camps, and we have nowhere to go. So my sister wrote us, come, I have a two-bedroom place, so I have room for you, why don't you come? And we went to Israel. But I lived in Israel in such fear, surrounded by all the enemies, that little country, that I really wanted my children to grow up as far as possible from any conflict. And we were lucky to get a visa to Canada, and I came to Canada in 1953.
And have stayed ever since?
Best country in the world. No other country.
That feels like a good place actually to leave this,
This is one thing.
except for the one thing Fred wants to say.
Oh, well, I was just thinking all along, and as different ones spoke, and they talk about liberations and this and parties and campaigns, but having seen the faces of many peoples during my short career in the so-called war, and I've noticed that momentarily it's a big event. Everybody's happy and joyous, like the papers are full of pictures, like London, you can't see the street, there's so many. But it simmers down quickly. And in little towns, you go and there and they have a little celebration, pride and everything else, and the people, but the main thing is the people are saying to themselves, it's over. They're not happy about the fact that somebody won or somebody didn't win. It's the fact that they're happy that stress and strain is gone. I can now do what I want, I can move where I want, I can eat what I want, I go where I want, I'm free. So it's not a case of a country winning a war, it's a case of the people in all countries involved in the war. They're all free.
Freedom.
You see, our bodies were liberated. We are there and will always be there, and we will be free when we lay to rest.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, my navigator, maybe somebody didn't hear it, but my navigator was a Jewish lad, and he was from Ottawa. And he was naturally with the ingrown fear at all times, because we went on 46 operations and shot down one and a couple others. We lost 2 motors over Berlin one night, and we came home all by ourselves right across Germany, completely one airplane. And no one bothered us for one simple fact. We had 4 engines, we lost 2. We only had 2. 2 engines are a fighter. People on the ground, a fighter. 4 engines, the bomber. And the sound was very distinct. So we came home nice and late, cruised in and everything else. And another night we had we were bombed, we were in LA, we were bombed by a Lancaster, of all things. They drop all their firebombs on top of us. They're everywhere. We got bonfires everywhere. Nothing's working except there's 4 motors going around for some reason. We stagger back to England, and we have dozens of Spitfires and Hurricanes come out to meet us at the border. And what can we do? We can't talk. We no radio. So all you can do is play with the Aldous lamp and send signals. And as we crash landed one night the same way, we saw lights come on in England. Oh, airdrome, head. So you had to move your engines back and forth. You couldn't dare to blink or link, or you'd flip right over and go straight down. So we just stall a little bit, change shape, then start going down. And the guys down there are sending all the signals back up. No, 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 no. And we told our wireless operator, just tell them yes, yes, yes.
I'm a pilot, so I know what
We
you're
came
talking
in,
about.
yeah. We landed right on a tiny
What are
little.
the chances for a footnote?
We got 30 seconds left, so go
Okay,
ahead.
just a footnote. The theme for Stratford this year is Peace Returns, Reflections of 1945. And here is the program. You can get it on the internet. It's called Heritage Weekend. It's all happening on June the 6th. I'm MC for a concert in Stratford, and we're going to tell the story and sing it all in songs, the songs that we sang in World War II.
And Lou Applebaum was the first one when they opened Stratford to write the music. And whatever you have there, it's a cousin of my husband's.
So D-Day in Stratford.
Right.
Yeah, call it anything you want.
Well-
it's got a great concert, and it's going to be Saturday night on the 6th of June.
D-Day, 6th of June. There you go. Can I thank our guests for coming in tonight for a really extraordinary look back at a time 70 years ago. Our thanks to Rolf Pirro and Gerda Freiberg and Bruce Woods and Fred Davies. Thank you all.
Great to be here.
Help TVO create a better world through the power of learning. Visit supporttvo.org and make a tax-deductible donation today.